I could start it up if need be. I haven't started because I see some board members missing. Yep, just let me know.
Mike, can you hear me? I'm online.
No, not gonna happen.
Who do we talk to about that?
I think we probably have to assume that he can't.
Sorry, Mike. Do you want me to text Bill? Oh, he's online.
I don't know, is he?
Yes.
This is
Oh,
an
okay.
overview, it's scannable.
Oh,
Hey
okay,
Siri.
So that's everything.
okay.
Yes, can you hear me? Yes, probably not.
Yep, it's live.
Okay.
Okay, so. Does that mean I get to go? You can stay, but you can't vote. And you're not gonna count towards the quorum. Excellent. All right.
Bill Formosi, is that you online?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good, thank you. So that's four then.
Yeah, okay. Okay, is there a motion to open the meeting?
Motion to open the meeting at 7:04.
Second. We can record, Jason.
All in favor of opening the meeting for December 10th of the Groveland Conservation
I think you
Commission?
need a roll call.
Yes, I know, roll
Okay.
call. Bill?
Yes.
Mike, yes. Stephanie?
Aye.
And Terry.
Aye.
So just a note that one of our members, Fred, has not been sworn in yet, so he will not be voting tonight or count towards the quorum. But we have a quorum without him, so that's not a problem. Okay. So the first agenda item is a hearing for a request for determination of applicability at 277 Washington Street by Robert and Mary Lee Messina, and applicants are seeking for the removal of a dead tree approximately 76 feet from the bank of Johnson's Pond. And the tree has been deemed dangerous, and so they seek to take it down. I'll make a motion to open the hearing on this GRDA.
Second.
We'll take a vote to open the hearing. Bill?
Yes.
Mike, yes. Stephanie?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Okay. All right. So I believe we have some pictures in the packet. Of the tree. And the tree is indeed dead. Large tree. And has branches falling off of it, so the owners want to take it down. Mr. Messina, do you have anything else you want to add to our record here?
Do we have to have him go to the,
Yeah, if you, why don't you go up there, there's a microphone up there.
Just trying to take the tree down.
Probably have to turn that on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
just make sure it's green there.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, thank you.
We're just taking the tree, want to take the tree down for safety purposes, so that no one gets hurt or killed from this particular tree. It's right in our path that goes down to the pond,
Yep.
and we've always, the neighbors, myself, and we've always had our kayaks and, excuse me, everything right there. Everything's been moved out now since the tree started to fall apart. And we just want to make it safe so we can still walk down there and enjoy the pond. So that's about,
Is your plan to remove the entire tree, or were you going to leave any part of it?
well, we're going to leave the stump, that's for sure. It's,
How big of a stump could you leave? Just because snags actually serve an important part in our ecosystem by providing housing and food for animals. For example, bats, owls, birds.
yes. So you want to leave the stump or not?
Well, I'm wondering if you could leave actually a larger part of the tree, like pieces, maybe, like if you were to remove the part of the tree that is falling apart, actively falling apart, like branches.
Yeah.
But leave like a relatively tall portion, would that be possible?
Well, the tree, the bark is coming off of it because it's been dead, and the pieces that have fallen, it's hollow inside.
But even more important for our ecosystem, for bats, for example,
Yeah.
many of which are going extinct in Massachusetts.
They're
Oh,
not
so how-
extinct over there.
How much of it do you want them to leave?
I'm wondering if we could leave a large portion of it,
Like-
actually.
Like
The
what?
height of it, yeah.
What kind of height? 10 feet, 8 feet?
Maybe up to that first branch, that large branch that comes off to the left in the first picture. I don't know how high that is.
Do you know what kind of
10,
tree it
12
is?
feet?
It looks like an ash.
That tree is probably, if you stood in front of it, I would think 70 to 80 feet tall. It's,
What are the requirements for disposing of an ash because of the
I
borers?
think once the borers have gone through and the tree is dead, I don't think the borers are active anymore.
But aren't there requirements about removing?
I don't know, are there? Not that I've heard.
No. So we should just give them some guidelines on how much you should leave there, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to leave as much as possible, but take off the branches that are falling, obviously. Like, could you leave the core trunks?
I mean, you could probably, cut it up 4 or 5 feet, leave that much of it sticking up, or,
Bats, for example, big brown bats would roost in a tree like that, and they need a pretty decent height to be away from predators. So were you thinking you would take it right down to the ground? Because it would be nice if you could leave a substantial portion of it for that reason. Big brown bats are the most populated bats that we have left. The rest of them are endangered.
yeah. But there's a lot of trees there that are dead that are split right in half, so, I mean, they have plenty of places to live in. Plus, they're living in the eaves of my house, too. So,
So Mike, this is Bill.
Yep.
I think part of it, we should, he should confer with the person taking it down.
Have you hired a contractor?
I've had a guy come out to look at it, an arborist, and he's the one that told me when the bark's coming off, the thing's dead, and at some point in a storm, it's just gonna come down. And I had one behind it, and the whole top split off and broke off and came down, and we just don't want it to land on anyone.
Totally understand. Just, it's very close
Yeah,
to the
so-
pond, and that would be an important place to leave a snag.
How about if he consults with his tree expert and then to ask him about what would he recommend leaving, what the height he'd recommend
For habitat, though, I don't know if a tree expert would. What do you
Well,
think,
but-
Jill?
I agree. I think you should leave as much of that tree as you can, and if you cut right under that first large branch that comes off, there's essentially no risk of large limbs or branches falling. Maybe some bark will fall, but I don't think
Right.
anyone's getting crushed under what's gonna come off of that tree. This is the biggest tree in this picture, so, you
Oh,
know,
yes.
it's definitely important habitat
Yeah,
there.
and it hasn't had any vegetation on it in probably 4 or 5 years anyway. I mean, any leaves or anything, so.
Yeah, so if they took all the branches off, that would be all right.
We'll cut it right below where that first big branch goes off.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Would that be all right? Would that be a good compromise?
I,
Just for habitat reasons, when you're right next to the pond?
whatever we gotta do, we gotta do. I'd just like to get rid of it, but, you know, I don't know. What's the height of that first branch?
Well, it's
Let's see.
Looks to be about 20,
Maybe a quarter of the
25
way
feet.
up.
A quarter of the way, yeah, so it's gotta be at least 20 feet anyway. Just a matter of getting up there to cut it in that location. To probably bring in a bucket truck.
So guys, I think we either give him a rational recommendation or we let him do what he wants to do.
well, I think this is a rational recommendation,
Okay.
Bill.
Yeah,
But you gotta give him a height or you,
well, unfortunately, Bill, I don't think you've got the pictures that we've got. But there seems to be a logical place where that first major branch comes off.
I agree with that, but I also don't know what the inside of that trunk looks like. And what is the, you know, how stable is that?
Yes. Good point.
Yeah, you won't know till you cut it.
That's-
That's the problem.
Well, we know we know we'll let you take the top off. That's no problem.
Yep.
It's just a matter of what the health is of that trunk. You can have pieces of trunk falling off if it's hollow up on top. So that's why I say, yes, top is easy to say, take that down. That is probably 99% of the safety issue eliminated. I think you'd have to let the person who's cutting it down, who should know, you know, how solid that rest of that is.
Yeah, my guess is if it was hollow, those are pretty big branches, it would have broken off by now.
Yeah.
So, but sure, I mean, if it turns out that he cuts it a couple feet below where it branches off and there's substantial rot and danger of further pieces falling off, you cut a few more feet off.
Right.
Okay.
And hopefully save you some money too. If that, you know, if you end up leaving 20 feet of trunk, then you should have saved some money.
All right. Terry, you want to make a motion then?
I guess I will make a motion for a negative determination. And do we need to talk about what timing is on this? Because currently there's a restriction on work inside
Yes, that's true.
the 100-foot buffer zone. So were you hoping to do that before April 15th?
Yeah, he said the best time to do it was when the ground was frozen, so he can get his chipper and his equipment in there.
What's the fee for if we were to allow?
I think it's $100, isn't it?
Okay,
No, for outside work?
for a single.
Yeah, but it's not excavating or anything.
No, right, $100 a day, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's like a couple-hour job probably, if
Oh, yeah, one day.
less than, yeah.
All right.
So we need to, there's a restriction on when there can be work done within our jurisdictional area, seasonal restriction. So if it's after November 1st and before April 15th, there has to be a request to waive that restriction. And then further to that, there's a fee if we agree to waive the restriction. So,
I think I already paid the fee, the $100.
I'm sorry, what?
I think I already paid the fee.
That's for the GRDA, it's not for the seasonal restriction waiver.
Okay.
All right, so.
But yes, you already paid the $100.
All right, I remember, yeah.
So, Terry, continue the motion.
With a, granting a one-day waiver, seasonal waiver, seasonal restriction waiver for the project.
And can you also put in there that we would like the tree stump to be in place up to that first major branch unless the tree expert deems it to be unsafe?
What he said.
Yeah, do you agree to that? All right.
Have we been including replantings
Oh,
on ash removals, or, I can't remember.
Yes.
We don't want more ashes in there.
No more ash,
No, but another maybe similarly sized.
something
Yeah.
that'll grow big.
You know, it looks pretty busy there already.
There's thousands of trees there.
Yeah, I'm, if it were being clear cut and.
Right.
And we wanted to reestablish some vegetation, I'd say, sure, make him plant some trees and bushes. But from this picture, I don't think there's the need to put anything else in there. So I'm not gonna add that to my motion.
Okay. All right, so the motion is we're gonna approve this, issue the negative determination, which just means that doesn't have to file for any other permits. And he is going to get some advice about leaving the stump up to the first branch and also granting a seasonal waiver of the seasonal restriction. So that's basically.
With the payment of the.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
waiver
of
fee.
course. All right. Any further questions from the commissioners? All right, we'll take a vote then. Bill?
Did we second that?
Yes.
No, nobody's second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded. Bill?
Yes.
Mike, yes. Stephanie?
Aye.
And Terry?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. So we will put that all in a letter and get it off to you as soon as possible.
Sure.
And then, you can communicate with John. John will communicate with you to kind of, maybe the day that your tree arborist comes or something, John can be there just to talk to
Yeah,
him.
to see the condition of the.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Okay, happy holidays.
All
Thank
right,
you so much.
You.
Okay. Yes. Next on our agenda is a public meeting regarding VZ Memorial Park and a memo that the commission was sent on November 17th. So what I'd like to do is first read a response to the memo before we go into it further. And this memo is from myself as chair, dated December 10th, regarding the VZ Memorial Park legal oversight and compliance concerns memo received from our town administrator. I wish to respond to your 4 points of legal concern regarding the memo dated November 17, 2026. This response will be brought before the full commission tonight. So the first item was the authority and leasing. Under the original purchase of VZ Park by the town and under the conservation restriction granted by the Department of Conservation and Recreation, otherwise known as DCR, The commission has care, custody, and control of the park. The commission has always rented facilities at the park since its purchase in 1996. No state agency has ever warned us to discontinue this practice. The town of Groveland officials have not questioned or provided evidence of wrongdoing in the past 30 years, and not often want any hand in the process of rentals at the park. Public decision-making. The commission has always kept management of the park open and transparent, with reports filed with the town annually and approved at annual town meeting. The commission annually appoints a commissioner with the responsibility to supervise the day-to-day operation of the park, with reports, significant decisions, and updates presented at monthly commission meetings. And the commission annually appoints agents to act in the best interests of the park at monthly staff meetings. These staff meetings consist only of appointed agents and hired employees or consultants of the commission and a supervising commissioner. The Friends of VZ Park. The Friends of VZ Park do not make any management decisions, approve building use, and they don't execute leases. No Friends collected funds are used for property prior without the commission approval. And Friends collected funds are donated to the revolving fund to further park purposes. Conservation restriction, Article 97. A single conservation restriction on the park is held by the State Department of Conservation and Recreation, DCR. DCR is responsible for inspecting and enforcing the terms of the restriction. DCR visits the park to examine the park grounds, buildings, and procedures. They examine our management plan and offer comments back to the commission. After the last visit, the DCR stewardship planner reviewed our February 2025 draft management plan, offering some suggestions but required no changes to our practice of event rentals and residential leases at the park. There are few, if any, Conservation Commission controlled properties in the state that have residences and event facility buildings. VZ Park may be unique. There were no defined rules in 1997 on how a commission could take care of such a facility. Our commission has been forced to adopt procedures and rules over the past 29 years to comply as much as possible with state and municipal regulations while keeping the park self-sustaining and preventing the facility from falling apart or worse. This has been very difficult. The town has often showed little interest in doing what is required to care for or to control the park. If you are now interested in taking a more active role, the commission is happy to pursue an improved partnership to preserve the park and meet its goals. Thank you. Turn it over to our town administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the commission for allowing me to be here this evening to talk about this issue. So a lot of what was outlined in the memo has already been outlined by the chair through his response to such memo. I had not had an opportunity to review his response, but there are still some concerns that were outlined as part of the memo that are still not addressed with his response. I would like to preface, when I first started here back in 2018 as a town planner, I worked very closely with the commission in trying to figure out exactly what we could do to enhance VZ Memorial Park. We talked about long-term vision planning. We talked about capital planning. We even talked about the creation of the environmental program coordinator, which is how we all came to know and love Annie Schindler. And we just were not finding it to be as successful or not producing the results that we had hoped for. So as part of that effort, we had hired a third-party consultant and his associates to put together a feasibility study to kind of outline what we should do next, just to make sure that we were being proactive and trying to identify ways that we could make Veazey Memorial Park successful. Because first and foremost, I am not here in opposition of Veazey Memorial Park. I am not here in opposition of the Conservation Commission. I'm not here to belittle or demean the efforts of the volunteers, the residents in the commission, or the Friends of Veazey for everything that they've done and continue to do on a day-to-day basis. I am here in interest of the taxpayers and the residents as a whole, with some concerns that have been validated by legal counsel and some clarification that is necessary through the state, specifically the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, which has 2 agencies that are looking into this particular, or 2 agencies that are responsible for this particular property and the monies that we received for the purchase of this property. One being DCR, like you referenced, for the management of the property, and one being DCS, which managed the land grant, which is formerly known as the self-help grant, that allowed us to purchase that particular property. In regards to the uses of the property, that is something I have not received a clear response for, and that is why I had reached out to the state to try and do my own due diligence and figure out exactly what we could do on the property, how, if necessary, expand those uses, or what uses we could use on the property so that we could be compliant with the state. And I had reached out to DCS specifically and was in touch with Vanessa Barney, who is participating here via Zoom this evening. So issues specific to the uses of the property and what the state allows and what the process for allowing those uses should be directed to the state. I'm not here to do their job. I'm just here to connect you to the resources and to make sure that the town is in fact being compliant. But in regards to the other legal issues, some of those still stand. When we're talking about the care, control, and custody of the property, that pertains to being able to manage, maintain, improve, protect, and conserve the park consistent with its conservation and passive recreation purposes. That does not grant the Conservation Commission the ability to lease public property. The most concerning part of that is residential leases. We have 3 residential properties on that particular site. There's a house at the bottom, the one on the top, and the one in the back. And those leases were drafted and signed by the Conservation Commission and did not go through a fair market process under the law for procurement. So there is some concern about those particular leases that have been enacted and enforced. And yes, those were practices that had happened throughout the years, but I can't speak to things that happened before me. I can only speak to what I know, what I have found, and what I'm trying to bring forward so that we can rectify and improve. The second being the public decision-making process. Yes, the practice has been for the Conservation Commission to allow for a member to operate in its capacity when they are not there. But that does not free them from open meeting law. Just as much as the Select Board cannot make decisions outside of their process, they hired and created a town administrator position to handle the day-to-day operation and make those decisions and report back to them in an open session where they could deliberate and discuss in front of the public and make those decisions. A blanket approval is not acceptable, and that is what has been told to us by our town attorneys. And on the last point for the Friends of Veazey, yes, they have been acting in support of the park. However, recently, they raised monies. They pulled a permit on town property without approval from the Conservation Commission. And they allowed a contractor onto public property without going through the procurement process, did not pay prevailing wage rates, and allowed them to spend about $20,000 on a roof repair on town-owned building. That's not to say that they were wrong in the sense of trying to do good and invest and try and put money back into the park, but there's process and procedure. And in terms of procurement, we must follow that process. So an outlined agreement of what the Friends' role is in the fundraising and capital and investment back into Veazey is something that we're looking to identify. We're not looking to prohibit it, we're not looking to stop it, we're just trying to put a process in place to make sure that we're following the proper rules so that we can make sure that procurement laws are followed, that we have an understanding of the contractors working on town property so that we can make sure that our insurance is protected and we can make sure that the liability and the risk to the taxpayers are preserved. So I'm here this evening, again, not in opposition, but trying to get these points to the Conservation Commission so that we can work together to put proper procedures in place, not only with the administration side, but also with the state to make sure that we're all on the same page, because there's a lot of areas of confusion. And to Mike's point, there's been a lot of things that have happened in the past that have not been clearly identified or or explained to any of us. And so now that these issues have come to light, the feasibility study has showed that much more work needs to be done and called into question these legal concerns. I think it's now more than ever, we need to come together and discuss how we move forward. So I do hope that the Conservation Commission understands that this is not in any way to call negative attention to the park and what's been accomplished, but to try and move forward together. And I have Vanessa Farney on the Zoom call for specific questions related to the use, if you had those. But if there's anything about the legal aspect or the memo that was provided to you or the information provided in your packet, I'd be more than happy to answer those questions specifically.
Well, I guess the main concern that I have is that according to what was written here by town council, it sounds like that we really can't be doing any rentals at the park. According to the Division of Conservation Services under the self-help grant. On the other hand, in dealing with the Department of Conservation and Recreation, who we have to provide regular management reports to, and we have just recently updated the management report without any further laying out exactly what we do there, and they haven't had any problem with that. So there's kind of this conflict that I think concerns the commission because according to what town council says, we can't be doing this stuff. So I don't really know, how it's going to be resolved.
So Mike,
Yes,
we're not going to solve it here tonight. I think there's a lot of information that we don't have. Yes, we've been doing things the same way for a long time. It might not be right, unfortunately. Maybe a couple of things have gotten by us that we weren't aware of. It's one of those things I hate to just add another committee, but I think I would like to make a motion that we do have a committee. I think you're most involved, so yourself, Stephanie, if you're willing, and then you guys can use the rest of the commission as you need to look at solutions, because it looks like it's a wide range of issues, and we may have to break them down by procedure. So, again, I guess bottom line, I'd like to make a motion that we form a committee to resolve these issues.
second. So there's a second on that. Okay, well, that sounds like a potentially good idea. Let me just ask the town administrator, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that would be a great first step.
Yeah, I think that, you have brought forward a lot of things to think about, right? And we have our opinion on the way we've been operating, but so it's kind of more complex than we can really address. I think we have to kind of break it down and address these things separately, one at a time, right? Make more sense.
I would agree. The only suggestion I would have is that we do involve the state in these conversations because they're the ones that control that aspect of things. And as I said, during my own research, it has been very difficult to try and get more of a clear understanding of exactly what is allowed and what was allowed at the time of purchase in 1995 and some of the correspondence going back from certain years and certain questions that were asked. So in order to make sure that we are in compliance, I would suggest that whatever committee is made, that they do consult with the state specifically. I don't know if Vanessa would be available to do that, but I do think it would be important.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I've been in touch with DCR on a regular basis, but not with DCS. But maybe she could just weigh in about what are the differences here between what we've been doing under the conservation restriction versus what has been said about the original purchase agreement. Can you give us any quick insight into that?
Sure. Yeah, so first of all, by way of introduction, Vanessa Farney. I'm a grant program manager with the Division of Conservation Services, so I currently administer the Lane Grant Program. So appreciate the opportunity to be here with you tonight because I'm happy to continue to work with the commission or any committee of the Conservation Committee to try and solve this. So a couple points, as you were sharing your response in the memo, I want to point out, so there are two agencies that are involved here, right? So DCR has purview over the conservation restriction, and I very much appreciate the correspondence that you've had with DCR over the years pertaining to that agreement, and that should certainly continue. And then, of course, DCS, as you just acknowledged, we don't traditionally monitor properties, so you may not have had as much engagement with us, but we do still have a responsibility to ensure that properties purchased with the grant funding administered by DCS, that those properties are being managed per the intent of the conservation and passive recreational values that those lands are required for. So one thing that's important to note is in addition to the conservation restriction on record, there is also a project agreement on record. And the terms of that project agreement acknowledge the intent of the funding to support the use of the property for conservation and passive recreation, but also for broader public benefit and public access. So I think you will find that there may be, while the conservation restriction, the project agreement, and the grant funding are all in alignment around the broader conservation goals for the property, there may be nuanced differences between what the terms of the conservation restriction that DCR is focused on enforcing and the goals of and the intent of the grant funding through DCS. So while they may be focused on specific structures and uses of structures or the implementation of trails or activities, we want to ensure things to the effect of the property remains open to the general public, right? And we want to ensure that the conservation values are first and foremost on the property. So I do appreciate the opportunity to be part of this conversation because I do think there are some concerns about the current uses. You know, it's the marketing of the property as a wedding venue is not consistent with the intention of the overall grant award and intention for the property to be maintained as conservation property. So I think there are differences, and I appreciate you consulting with DCR. I don't know that there's been any communication with DCS. As Rebecca alluded, it's been challenging to find any record of correspondence. I did find a letter from Joel Lerner dated to 2000 that sort of reinforces the land is dedicated to conservation and passive recreation, and that really wanted to ensure that any use of the facilities ensured that there would continue to be public access and that general public use of those facilities would continue. So certainly happy to continue the conversation.
Thank you. So just very briefly, you know, I'm not sure why this is being said, but the facility has not ever and does not currently have any plans to market itself as a wedding venue. We have resisted this continually, especially over the past 5 years ago, 5 past years, in our use of the property. It's always been the commission's goal to keep the property open to the public while sustaining it. And the difficulty has been in looking up, I think as I mentioned before, there are I couldn't find any properties in the state of Massachusetts that are the same as VZ Park. They may exist, but I don't know of them, where we have residential buildings and part of the property, and managing that, and also a public event facility, or however you want to call it. So it's like, you know, I think in tracing back some of the guidance that we've had through our management plans with DCR, where we've always talked about those things that we've been doing to keep the facility running and from preventing the buildings to falling apart into the ground. We've had to keep our sustainability by, you know, doing rentals. The rentals, for the most part, are 3 to 6 hours. They don't prevent the public from using the outdoors at all. The place is open 24 hours a day for the public, and DCR's been happy with that. So I think that we probably can do a good job of better explaining what we're doing. And I can even send you a copy through our town administrator of our management plan, so you can kind of get a better idea of what we're trying to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that would be wonderful, and I appreciate that. And I apologize, I'm referring to materials as I was trying to prepare for this meeting. I was looking at, you know, information about VZ Park out there. So I know that there are websites that identify, you know, a North Shore wedding venue, and that to me was very concerning to find that there's, and I might not be looking at the right website, but if I Google VZ Park in Groveland, I get a website that identifies it as a North Shore wedding venue.
Yeah, no,
So
that's
sort of
correct.
raises concerns.
That is correct, and we do have weddings there, but, you know, I think last year maybe we had 5 or 6, you know, it's not like we've got weddings, I wouldn't call it a wedding venue per se, you know, but, you know, obviously we do have weddings there, and so maybe we have to look at that more closely, right?
Yeah, so I think this goes back to, we got to get a committee together. We
Yep.
need to start locking this off as, you know, issues that are concerning, and then, you know, understand, because is putting a, you know, the fact that we have weddings there, having that on the website, is that marketing? I mean, we're certainly not going out and saying, hey, do this. It would have to be for people that come to the website. So that may be a fine line, and I don't know, you know, what the legal thing is, but I think that's the kind of thing we just have to sit down and march through these things, because I think there's our understanding or our perspective and legal, right? So, and we need to be legal. So maybe it's a shift in our understanding of it. And then we figure out a way that maybe we can still do it, but we have to do it with under some restrictions. So, but again, I think we could go on all night here.
Yeah, no.
You know.
Okay, so we do have a motion. Before we take a vote, I see that we have a large number of people here. So if anyone from the commission would like to say anything else? No?
I wanted to ask
Yeah,
about the
Terry.
rentals, the leases. we're not like evicting people between Christmas and New Year's, are we? Is that,
No, that's
what are
not,
the plans for that? What's-
that's not the intent, but that is the most pressing of the matters that we need to address more so immediately.
Okay, is there anyone from the public here tonight that would like to say anything about VZ Park or what you've heard tonight or what we're planning on doing?
Hello, Brian Lynch, 7 Star Road, Groveland, Mass. I'm just speaking as a resident of the community, representing only myself. I'm not challenging people's commitments or efforts with VZ Park, but I do question the results. I don't have an issue with the open space aspect of the park, but I do have concerns with the financial state and management practices. I have the same information you all have. You have a lot more than I have, I'm sure. But I do have a copy of the VZ Memorial Park Governance Report, which I'm sure you've all, read, highlighted, and made a lot of notes on. And some of the things in there do raise concern with me. From a management standpoint, if you look at page 4 of this document, it states that you guys are care, custody, control the board of the park. But it states in here that there's a VZ management board, which I'm not sure when that was formed. If you guys could direct me to a meeting where I could look at the minutes where you guys voted and chose these members, because it doesn't seem like it was done well, to be perfectly honest with you. The management board consists of one of your members, your chairman, Mr. Dempsey, which makes sense, somebody from Concom's on it. Also includes Ms. Lopez, Mr. Soper, Ms. Funchin, all of whom have a paycheck from VZ Park. So that's like the fox watching the hen house. You got somebody who's being paid by the park, running the park, telling you what to do with the park. I mean, it seems to me that there could be a conflict of interest there. And then you have one other member, Ms. Walsh, who is chair of the Friends of VZ Park. So again, it seems like there's a little bit of too tight of a relationship here between the representatives of that board and the operation of the park. I would think it would be, as stated in this on page 11, a better oversight committee, I believe they call it, with better representation of our community. It would include representation from the Board of Selectmen, the Conservation Commission, the town administrator, a finance committee member, an historic committee member, and a rec committee member. That sounds like a bit more of a well thought out membership committee, or management committee, I should say, as opposed to the people drawing a check from the park. I mean, again, and that brings me to another point. I hear them referred to as employees of the park and whatnot. They're not employees of the park. They're contractors. They get paid based on a 1099. So if they're operating on town property under 1099, I assume that they have some type of business entity that they operate under. I assume they have their own liability insurance policy that they operate under. Those are things that the DOI requires. You can't just go to the VZ Park and work 5 days a week, 6 days a week, and be a 1099 employee. That's just not how it works in the real world. So those are a couple of my concerns. And there's been talk tonight, which I agree with, about some type of committee to start to oversee this a little better, to try to find the direction. I think maybe that committee should have representation similar to what's stated in this report, not just a couple of members of the Concom and maybe some members that work there, but maybe a broader selection. Maybe you could get somebody from finance to get on board with you. Maybe one of the selectmen would be willing to get on board with you. I think it would make for a much more, broad-minded committee. So those are, again, just as a resident, those are some of my concerns, because as you read through these documents, I think it's on the spreadsheets on page 18 and 19, it states that it's losing money. It states that it's upside down. The events don't cover the profits of the events don't cover the expenses associated with them. The 1099 fees for the 3 contractors are simply too high for the revenue generated. So I mean, these are things that this committee needs to look at, and I think it might need a broader group, somebody with financial background that can look at the spreadsheets and determine, where things have gone awry. We hear, since 1996, everything's been great so far, but the spreadsheets say otherwise. We're robbing Peter to pay Paul, if you read the spreadsheet. The apartments make some money, but then that money gets taken away from the apartments and used to support the venue aspect. That doesn't work in the real world. That doesn't work in the private sector. So then when all of a sudden we need to put some windows in one of the buildings, where are we going? CPA, let's ask them for some money, because we took the money. The money should stay in the bucket it belongs in. You asked a great question about the tenants in the buildings. Again, if we read the report, it states that the housing authority is really the body that should oversee that on behalf of us town residents. They have the ability to set rents, to create leases, to collect rents, to manage properties, to repair properties. So we paid money for this report, and I think it was worthwhile, and I'd love to see, this be our guideline for taking to the next direction. But those are my thoughts for tonight, and again, I'm not challenging people's commitment, I'm not challenging people's efforts, but I do challenge the results. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Oh, go ahead.
Jan Dempsey, 33 Uptack Road. I just want to say that the efforts that have gone into this park for 3 decades have been phenomenal. And it's not just the management committee, it's not just the employees, it's the townspeople, it's our wonderful volunteers, it's the friends. And for some reason, where nothing is ever perfect and everything can be improved, I would just like to state for the record that I feel that there's not enough generosity lately in our community to thank people and to appreciate people and their efforts. It seems like it's in short supply lately. And I think that we need to be more careful how we approach things. If there's a problem, can't we just talk to people individually first rather than send documents to people with no explanation, call the state, do this, do that? I would just like to see a kinder, gentler town government, because we have wonderful people in this town, and we have so many people who love and enjoy the park. We have people who live there. That's their home, and they need to be respected as well. And going forward, I would just ask the committee that's formed and the town boards to really look at VC Park as what it is. It's a town gem. We were so fortunate to be able to purchase that park, and it has benefited so many people for 3 decades, and I want to see it continue. Thank you.
Vanessa Lopez. I manage VC Memorial Park, and I just wanted to bring up that I've read the consultant's report. I actually agree with a lot of it. I think that there should be more oversight, and I'm welcoming anybody who wants to be a part of that, either on the volunteer side, but I believe that the government side would also. I think the only reason that hasn't happened before just hasn't had enough interest from the public because they are volunteer situations. But in any case, we are also committed as staff at VC Park. I do not, you're right, I'm not a town employee, but I am very committed to working with the Conservation Commission and the town to make sure everything is in compliance. I am a bit concerned with the whole conversation around weddings because the consultant report also gave us the impression that that was where we should be putting the most of our efforts. For the 10 years that I've been there, it absolutely has been front and center to have the people of Groveland have access to this place rather than it be a commercial type of property. But it is getting increasingly difficult to generate more funds with very little support. It's taken the last 3 years to even get the place up to snuff to be able to rent it out as a place people would want to have weddings. So we have spent a lot of time just getting it prepared. It is ready to go. It's a beautiful property. We've worked with a very tight budget, but I think that it has a huge future, and there are a lot of people very committed to making that work. So if there's anything I can do, I just want to let you know I'm here, and give me a call or email me, and I'll answer any questions that anybody has. And love your name, Vanessa. I'm also a Vanessa. I'm looking forward to seeing what we need to do to change things, and hopefully we can continue to have rentals, because I'm not quite sure where the income would come from, but I'm sure you guys will figure it out. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa.
So just to clear up, this subcommittee that we are voting to appoint is for discussion, continuing this discussion with the town administrator before any changes get made, as implied by the previous speaker there. So I think that's kind of the goal of it, is to address directly the issues that our town administrator brought, and some of the problems to do with state requirements. So that's what's going to be addressed by this subcommittee. Something different may come out of that, but for the initial stage, that will be the goal of the subcommittee. All right, so I think we're ready to take a vote on establishing the subcommittee to work with the town administrator. Take that vote by roll call. Bill?
Did we second
Yes.
that one also? Did we second it?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
I believe I seconded it.
Yeah, Terry?
You did.
Okay, good. Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
That's okay. Bill, yes. Mike, yes. Stephanie?
Aye.
And Terry?
Aye.
Yes, okay, unanimous. So we'll try to get that going as soon as possible, and I do have a book for you, Rebecca, with all the history, et cetera, in there.
We can make that into a book on tape, and you can listen to it on the way home.
Read in Terry's voice, that would be nice.
Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is project updates and discussion. The first one is VZ Park updates, and the main thing is the DCR management plan for 2025, the draft, to get that approved. It's been gone through by DCR, and so we can take a vote here tonight to approve the final draft, and that'll be submitted to them so they can take their final approval of it. So that was, I think that was emailed to everybody, and it's also in the packet tonight. It's kind of large, so I don't know if anyone had any questions on it.
Hi, I don't know how to raise my hand here. I just wanted to chime in again. I know, especially as the committee's getting underway and there's further conversation about VC Park, I know you're in communication with DCR on management plans and such. It may also be helpful to ensure that DCS is part of those reviews and conversations. We don't have, a formal role in approving management plans, but particularly as you're having conversations about sort of this long-term strategic planning process, I think conferring with DCS to ensure that the proposed opportunities and management are in line with the intent of the property might be useful as well. So I would be happy to provide that. I'm not aware that a management plan was ever shared with DCS. It's something that I actually did go back. The original application contemplated a management plan. I don't have any management plan, so, but would be happy to provide any input to that if it's useful.
Okay. So like I said, I'll get your best way to communicate it to your email and send that off to you as soon as possible. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I just had one more question. I wasn't sure who to address this to, but as I do tours with people that are looking to rent into the future, is that something that I should continue to do without knowing?
Yes, I would say until we make some changes and find out any changes we need to make, I think we have to continue to operate as we are operating. And I think, I don't think the commission's going to waste time in meeting with the town administrator and trying to figure out if there are major changes that need to be made.
Okay, yeah, I would definitely love to be, given a heads up about what's going on. I just feel
Sure.
really uncomfortable asking, giving people tours if there's such a big cloud over us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, so about the management plan, any questions from commissioners on it? All right, so again, this is our final draft. DCR may come back and make some changes again, but, they offered about 10 comments, and it was mostly adding some stuff, so I added that stuff in there. So hopefully, they won't have too many other changes to it. So I'll make a motion to submit the draft management plan to, our final draft management plan to Department of Conservation and Recreation.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? Bill?
Yes.
Mike, yes. Stephanie?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. The other item that I've got, but I'm not going to go into it because of time, but got some updates to marketing plan. And so what I think might be best is if I get that you send an email of everybody and we can address it at the next meeting, since we didn't get to send that out earlier. So we'll postpone talking about that. I don't think we've got any other VZ Park updates tonight. So we'll move on to open discussion. I don't know of any issues or other items not reasonably anticipated.
Did we,
What?
National Grid yearly operational?
Yeah,
Okay.
that is. Okay. Oh, this is the National Grid thing is just correspondence.
Okay.
So I'm going to turn it over to John, and he is going to talk about a couple of things, potentially.
Yeah, so my first
item that I wanted to address was just some concerns about the delay for signing documents from the commission. This is for Whitestone Village, the order, or the certificate of compliance. I asked you guys to sign it like 3 weeks ago, and I still haven't been able to send it out, so if you guys could sign that tonight, that
How
would be
many
great.
signatures do we need on it, John?
At least 4,
No, I'm saying how many more?
2.
Oh, 2 more? So
Yeah.
has Terry signed it?
No, not yet,
And has Stephanie signed it?
not yet.
Okay, so,
But the concern is it's been 3 weeks.
yes.
And other than that,
Isn't that it?
so Carrie signed it, but there's only 2, we need 2 more.
Okay, but
Sorry. Apologies, John.
You're
Sorry.
fine. The only other thing I wanted to ask you guys about, did you have any preference on when you want to do the Wetlands Protection Act boot camp? I don't know if you guys responded to the survey or
How
not.
long, so I didn't know anything about this because I wasn't at the last meeting, so I didn't know it was happening. But how long of a program is it?
It's an hour and 30 minutes. That includes questions and answers.
So
So-
go till probably 7 or so?
Yeah.
I mean, I submitted my response,
Okay.
which I think was Wednesday, right? No, the choices were Monday or Tuesday? Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if anyone else.
I did.
Okay. Awesome. That's all I have on that.
Okay.
So,
Bill, I know you
Yep.
can't sign it over the computer, but we'll leave it in the box. If you can sign this, it'll be ready to go.
Yeah, I'll get there tomorrow morning.
Okay, thanks.
I think we all think that somebody else is going to sign it, and then we just don't. So
Yes.
I apologize.
Well, I got around that by just signing it.
Thank you. I usually do.
John, why don't you just mention about the fiscal year 2027 goals? and what we
Yes.
need to be thinking about.
so the Economic Development Planning and Conservation Department is preparing the budget narrative for FY 2027. And a part of that, we need to incorporate Concom's goals for that fiscal year. So I was hoping that that conversation could get started tonight. If not, we can always brainstorm over email.
Can you send that out to everybody?
Yeah.
So at least we can have individuals, if they've got any other new ideas or concerns, they could send them in to you.
Yep,
And then we could put that together, right?
that works.
Because it's due by the end of the month, so.
Yeah. I'll send you guys an email.
Okay.
And nothing else?
Nope.
Okay. And we have some minutes to approve from
Move to
November
approve
12th.
the November
I
12th
don't think,
meeting
I have
minutes.
to abstain, so I don't know if we have enough people to vote.
Oh, you're here. We have enough people to vote.
Well, I wasn't here.
We can abstain.
Yeah,
Okay.
it doesn't matter.
That counts as a vote?
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
You abstain.
All right, great. I abstain.
So
Well, has it been seconded?
I'll second it. Okay, so we've got the November 12th, 2025. You saw that those looked in order, Terry?
Yep. I went through it like I usually do.
Okay. So, Bill, were you here then?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so you can
So
vote.
I approve.
All right.
Yep, I approve.
Mike, so Bill, yes. Mike, yes. Terry?
Yes,
All
I,
right, passes 3,
3-0,
One abstain.
one abstention.
1 abstention.
Missed a couple letters.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay, now nobody,
We have to make him fix it.
she's taken to the hospital.
Okay, and then we've got the correspondence from National Grid, which is notice about their policies on taking care of rights-of-way within town and what they're doing about it, and their trimming and cutting and spraying.
Is it time to move to adjourn?
Well, I'll make a note here about our next meeting, scheduled for January 14th, Wednesday, 2026. And I think that's it. So Terry, you can.
Move to adjourn at 8:12.
Second.
You can't second it and make the motion.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
All in favor of adjourning?
Well, Bill?
Bill?
Yes.
Mike, yes. Stephanie?
Aye.
And Terry?
Aye.
Yes. Unanimous. Thank you.
Even if I said no, I was going to be outvoted, so.
Yeah.
There's a typo in Fred's name on